In the space between dusk and dawn, the world holds its breath. Shadows stretch long, and silence hums softly like a lullaby. Stars shimmer above, whispering stories older than time itself. Somewhere within that velvet dark, he walks, the Prince of Midnight. Morpheus, keeper of dreams, wanderer of unseen skies. He rules no kingdom of stone, no throne of gold. His realm is woven from sleep, stitched with light and memory. Each night he drifts across the dreaming world, unseen, unheard. He gathers the fragments of hope that humans leave behind. Lost wishes, half-remembered songs, forgotten laughter. They float to him like fireflies, gentle and bright. He listens, always listening, to the music of the sleeping world. Dreams rise and fall like tides beneath the moon's soft gaze. Some glow with wonder, some fade before they form. Tonight, something feels different. The rhythm is broken. A dream has vanished before its first breath. Even the stars seem quieter, uncertain, waiting. Morpheus lifts his eyes to the horizon of sleep. He knows. The balance is shifting. The dream realm trembles, and so begins the night of his journey, the night of remembrance. The night breathes softly across the realm of dreams. Silver clouds drift through an endless sky of quiet thought. Beneath them lies the palace of stars, where Morpheus stirs from slumber. His eyes open slowly, like moons rising above still water. He listens, not with ears, but with the silence of eternity. The stars murmur, their voices trembling like distant bells. Something is wrong within the weave of dreams tonight. He feels it in the pulse of the cosmos, in the rhythm of sleeping minds. 1,000 dreamers toss and turn, their visions fading too soon. Morpheus steps from his chamber, the floor glimmering beneath his feet. Every tile holds a reflection of a dream once dreamt. He walks among them like a guardian of forgotten stories. The air hums with the scent of starlight and memory. Through towering arches of light, he moves toward the hall of whispers. Here, the dreams of mortals echo, voices soft as sighs. He hears a lullaby from a child, a wish from an old soul, a secret from a lover. All blend into the great symphony of sleep. But beneath the melody, a shadow curls, an absence, a silence too deep. Dreams are fading before they can bloom. Like petals touched by frost, they vanish into nothingness. Morpheus raises his hand, tracing a pattern in the air. Threads of light emerge, revealing the map of human dreams. He sees gaps, black spaces where color should flow. He frowns gently, a quiet sorrow in his ageless eyes. The dream realm is alive, yet something is consuming its song. He cannot allow the silence to spread. Stepping to the balcony of stars, he looks down upon the sleeping world. Cities shimmer faintly, each light a mind lost in slumber. He watches the rise and fall of dreams like waves on a silver sea. Some are peaceful, some restless, some reaching for things beyond sight. And among them, he senses one. A dreamer whose light has gone dark. No visions, no sound, no pulse of imagination. An emptiness where there should be wonder. Morpheus knows such stillness is rare and dangerous. Without dreams, the balance weakens. Hope, memory, creativity, all begin to crumble. He closes his eyes, focusing on that single void. The world around him slows until only the heartbeat of night remains. A soft wind stirs his cloak, carrying the scent of distant rain. The stars whisper again, uneasy and afraid. He speaks, his voice low and steady like midnight rain. Show me what has been lost. The constellations shift, aligning in graceful silence. A path of light unfurls before him, leading toward the mortal realm. He steps forward, his figure dissolving into mist and moonlight. The dream palace fades behind him like a sigh at dawn. And so, Morpheus descends, not as a god, but as a guide. The Prince of Midnight begins his search, chasing the echo of a vanishing dream. The path of light guides Morpheus across the sea of dreams. Below him, waves of silver mist rise and fall in silent rhythm. Each crest carries fragments of forgotten thoughts and half-formed wishes. The air glows faintly, pulsing with the heartbeat of the sleeping world. He walks without sound, his steps leaving trails of soft luminescence. Far ahead, a quiet shimmer marks his destination, the Mirror Lake. It lies at the edge of the dream realm, where reflections breathe and memories sleep. Its surface is still as glass, holding the light of 1,000 unseen stars. Morpheus kneels at its shore, his cloak brushing against ripples of moonlight. He gazes into the water and sees more than reflection. Faces drift across the lake, dreamers lost in thought, eyes closed in longing. Their dreams shimmer like ribbons of color, weaving through the night. But among them, some reflections are dull, pale, almost fading away. Dreams without color, without song. He reaches out, touching the surface with a fingertip of light. The water trembles, showing him the truth beneath. In the mortal world, countless hearts sleep without wonder. Children dream of numbers, not stars. Artists close their eyes, yet see only gray. The world has grown too loud, too heavy, too real. Imagination struggles to breathe beneath its weight. Morpheus feels the ache of their silence. He remembers when dreams soared freely, when hope painted the night. He speaks softly, his words drifting like feathers across the lake. Dreams are the soul's language. Without them, we forget who we are. The water answers with ripples of faint light. He watches them spread, carrying his words into the farthest corners of night. Images begin to form, glimpses of laughter, of stories untold. But they flicker weakly, unable to hold shape. Something still restrains them, pulling them back into stillness. Morpheus rises, his reflection shimmering like smoke upon the surface. He lifts his hand once more, summoning the ancient light of remembrance. Stars gather around him, forming a crown of silver dust. Their glow touches the lake, awakening buried dreams beneath. For a brief moment, colors bloom again, crimson, gold, and violet. He sees the reflection of a little girl painting the sky with her hands, a boy building a castle from clouds, an old man walking through the garden of his youth. The lake hums with life once more. But the moment fades too soon, as if the dreamers themselves doubt their visions. The water dims, the reflections blur. Morpheus lowers his gaze, whispering to the still air. Even belief must be tended, or it too shall fade. He turns from the mirror lake, its surface quiet again. Behind him, the stars seem dimmer, veiled by clouds of uncertainty. Ahead, a faint glow calls him forward, the garden of forgotten whispers. With calm resolve, he steps into the mist, carrying with him the fragile light of hope. The night deepens, and the Prince of Midnight continues his journey. Mist drifts low across the Valley of Dreams, soft as a whisper. Morpheus walks through it, following the faint glow of forgotten voices. The garden of forgotten whispers lies ahead, blooming beneath eternal twilight. It is a place where unspoken thoughts take root and grow into light. Petals shimmer with words never said, laughter never shared, hopes never voiced. Each flower hums with quiet emotion, fragile yet endless in its beauty. Morpheus steps carefully, for every sound here carries memory. He brushes his fingers across a blossom of pale gold. A soft voice emerges, the dream of a child wishing for one more story. Another flower sighs, whispering the longing of a soul who never said goodbye. He listens, his expression calm but filled with infinite sorrow. The garden stretches far, each path lined with shimmering silence. Morpheus moves slowly, gathering threads of forgotten dreams. He weaves them through the air, forming gentle ribbons of light. These ribbons twist and dance, restoring fragments of hope to the dream realm. The flowers glow brighter as he passes, awakening to his presence. He kneels beside a small pool at the garden's heart. The surface ripples with faint colors, showing moments lost to time. Here lie the dreams abandoned by those who stopped believing. Morpheus closes his eyes and breathes deeply. The dream never dies, he murmurs. It only waits to be remembered. He releases the ribbons into the pool, their light spreading outward in waves. A melody rises from the garden, soft, tender, filled with yearning. It is the sound of 1,000 dreams remembering themselves. The ground glows beneath his feet, and the air trembles with life. But beyond the harmony, a faint shadow stirs. It moves among the flowers, unseen, but felt. Morpheus pauses, sensing the faint pulse of sorrow within it. It is not evil, only lost, the residue of forgotten imagination. He reaches toward it, but it slips through his grasp like mist. The garden falls silent again, as if holding its breath. He knows now that the fading of dreams is not natural. Something draws them away, stealing their light before they can bloom. Morpheus rises, his cloak shimmering with threads of starlight. He looks to the horizon, where the veil of night begins to thin. The mortal realm calls to him once more, fragile and restless. Before he leaves, he turns back to the garden. "Keep them safe," he whispers. "Their words must live on." The flowers sway gently, glowing brighter in response. He smiles faintly, a spark of warmth in the endless dark. Then, with a step as light as breath, he fades into the mist. The garden of forgotten whispers remains, singing softly after him. Its song carries through the dream realm, reaching every sleeping heart. And somewhere, in the waking world, a dreamer stirs, remembering something beautiful. The balance shifts once more, and the Prince of Midnight continues his path through the unseen. The night deepens as Morpheus walks beyond the garden's edge. The mist thins, revealing a quiet plain bathed in silver light. Here, dreams drift like clouds, soft and weightless, untouched by sorrow. But among them, he senses an absence, a void, too still, too silent. He follows it, guided by instinct older than time itself. The air grows colder, the stars dimmer, as he moves closer to the source. At the center of the stillness lies a dreamless sleeper. A young woman rests within a cocoon of pale light, motionless and calm. Her breath is steady, but her mind lies silent, untouched by dreams. No visions, no color, no whisper of imagination. To Morpheus, she is both mystery and warning, a mortal without dreams. He kneels beside her, studying the faint rhythm of her heart. "Who has taken your dreams, child of the waking world?" he murmurs softly. He reaches out, but the air trembles before his touch. The boundary between realms resists him, fragile yet firm. Even for the Prince of Midnight, crossing into mortal thought is perilous. But her stillness calls to him like a forgotten song. He feels the emptiness within her, vast and hollow as the void between stars. For a moment he hesitates. Then, with quiet resolve, he steps closer. His hand glows faintly, casting light upon her sleeping form. The glow seeps into her, seeking a spark, a memory, a dream, anything alive. Yet there is nothing. Only silence, heavy and endless. Morpheus feels a rare ache within his timeless heart. Dreams are the lifeblood of both worlds. Without them, even reality begins to fade. He whispers an ancient invocation, older than the first sunrise. By starlight's bond and shadow's grace, may her heart remember the dream. The words echo softly, vibrating through unseen threads of power. A ripple moves across the space between them. The dream realm shudders, recognizing the touch of mortal stillness. Slowly, faint colors begin to stir around her form. Tiny fragments of light bloom, fragile as morning dew. He sees glimpses, a brushstroke, a melody, a face once loved. But the images vanish before they can form, swallowed by doubt. Morpheus withdraws his hand, his expression unreadable. "She is close to the edge," he says quietly. "One breath away from forgetting." He looks up to where the stars hang silent in the sky. If she cannot dream, the chain between realms may break. He rises, his cloak rippling like smoke in starlight. "I will find the cause," he vows, "and return what was lost." The words hang in the air, glowing faintly as he turns away. The woman sleeps on, unaware of the promise spoken in her name. Above her, the stars flicker, as if listening, as if waiting. Morpheus steps back into the flow of dreams, his path lit by resolve. Somewhere beyond the horizon, answers await. And so the Prince of Midnight continues, carrying her silence in his heart. The midnight bells ring softly through the dream realm. Their chime echoes like ripples of silver across unseen skies. Morpheus stands at the threshold between sleep and waking. Before him stretches the bridge of starlight, a path few dare to cross. It shimmers with shifting constellations woven from the breath of dreams. Each step upon it carries a promise and a risk. To cross means to touch mortal thought. Fragile, fleeting, alive. Morpheus gazes ahead, the mortal's dreamless light faint in the distance. He exhales, and the stars bend gently to his will. The bridge hums beneath his feet as he steps forward into the void. The wind around him sings with whispers of countless dreams. Fragments of laughter, tears, songs, and prayers pass through him like rain. He feels the pulse of every sleeping mind, each unique, each sacred. But beyond them all, one voice remains silent. Hers. He follows the silence as one follows a scent through darkness. The bridge trembles, sensing the weight of his intent. Between worlds, time folds and unfolds like petals in bloom. He remembers the first dream ever born and the last dream ever lost. They are all connected, threads of light woven through eternity. Finally, the starlight dims, and the air grows heavy. He reaches the end of the bridge, the veil of mortal thought. Before him stands a great curtain of glass-like shimmer. Behind it lies her mind, still and untouched. He presses his palm against the veil, feeling its cold surface yield slightly. Through it, he sees flashes, childhood laughter, colors, fleeting hopes. But they fade quickly, like shadows in sunlight. "Let me in," he whispers, voice steady but filled with longing. The veil resists, trembling as if in fear. Dreams do not easily welcome their maker, even one of starlight. Morpheus closes his eyes and listens to the rhythm of her heart. He finds the faintest echo, weak, but still there. He channels his power gently, weaving light around the pulse. It begins to glow, faint, but alive. Then, with a quiet breath, he steps through. The world shifts. Sound falls away. He stands now within her dream, or rather, the absence of one. An endless plain of gray stretches in all directions. No sky, no ground, no motion, no color. Only silence, heavy and waiting. Morpheus walks forward, his light casting long shadows that fade quickly. He speaks softly. This is not death, but forgetting. His voice stirs the still air, awakening faint echoes in the void. Shapes flicker briefly, uncertain of their form. He reaches out his hand, calling to them with warmth. Slowly, the first light begins to gather, timid, fragile, trembling. He smiles faintly. Even here, the seed of a dream remains. And so, in that silent world, the Prince of Midnight takes his first step into the mortal's sleeping mind, to awaken what time has stolen. The gray world stretches endless beneath a silent sky. Morpheus stands in its center, his light the only color in the void. The air is heavy, unmoving, as if even time itself has fallen asleep. He kneels, pressing his palm to the cold ground. No heartbeat of dream, no whisper of memory responds. This place is not dead, merely forgotten. He closes his eyes and breathes slowly. A single note escapes his lips, soft and low like a sigh of the stars. It is the song of remembrance, carried through ages by dreamers' hearts. The sound moves through the stillness, gentle as falling snow. It gathers faint echoes, stirring the air around him. Then, from the horizon, the first drop of rain begins to fall. Not water, but memory, shimmering drops of silver light. They touch the ground and bloom into faint colors, blue and gold. The rain thickens, washing over the barren dreamscape. Each drop carries a fragment of her forgotten world. A brushstroke, a melody, a fleeting smile. The gray begins to shift, breathing softly once more. Morpheus rises, watching the light return with quiet grace. He walks forward through the rain, letting it soak into his cloak of stars. The sound of it soothes the silence, a rhythm older than words. He knows now that she once loved the rain. In the waking world, it whispered to her imagination, calling her to create. But somewhere along the way, the sound turned hollow. Duty replaced wonder. Noise replaced music. Her dreams, starved of meaning, drifted away. Now, within this echo of her mind, he calls them home. He raises his hand, and the rain responds like an orchestra of light. Tiny streams of color flow across the plain, carving rivers of memory. In their reflection, he sees fragments of her life. Brushes, paint, laughter. The dream begins to breathe again. Far away, a door opens, revealing faint hues of dawn. Morpheus smiles faintly, though the work is not yet done. He knows that to heal a dream is not to command it, but to guide it gently. He whispers to the rain, "Show her what she has forgotten." The rhythm deepens. Shapes begin to form within the mist. A canvas, a window, the faint outline of her childhood home. She appears, or rather, the echo of her spirit, standing before him. Her form is made of light, trembling like a candle's flame. She looks around, eyes wide with disbelief. "I used to dream of colors," she says softly. "But they left me." Morpheus bows his head. "Dreams never leave. They wait for you to return." Tears form in her eyes, shining like glass. She reaches out, touching one of the falling drops. It glows brighter, pulsing with life. The rain slows, and warmth spreads through the air. Her world, once gray, now breathes with gentle color once more. Morpheus watches in silence, his purpose fulfilled for now. The Prince of Midnight turns his gaze upward as the rain fades. Above them, the stars shimmer faintly, carrying whispers of rebirth. And somewhere beyond the veil, the waking world stirs, remembering the beauty of rain. The rain has ceased, leaving the air soft with silver mist. Morpheus stands beneath a pale sky that hums with quiet rebirth. The dreamer's world, once hollow, now shimmers with gentle light. Yet its colors remain faint, fragile as morning dew. He knows what must come next, the song that awakens the soul. It is the song of midnight, known only to the keepers of dreams. He closes his eyes, letting the silence settle deep within. From his breath, the melody begins, low, tender, infinite. It is not sung with words, but with memory and emotion. The song flows through the dream like a river of starlight. Each note carries warmth, weaving comfort through the fading gray. The air glows, alive with color and resonance. The dreamer listens, her eyes wide, heart trembling. The song touches her spirit like sunlight through storm clouds. Images bloom around her, meadows, oceans, endless skies. She remembers laughter, the smell of paint, the joy of creation. Her world expands with every verse, filled with wonder once lost. Morpheus watches in silence, the melody shaping itself through her. Dreams are not given. They are remembered through song and silence. She steps forward, her bare feet stirring ripples of light beneath her. "I know this tune," she whispers. "I used to hum it as a child." Morpheus nods. "You heard it in your sleep, long before you forgot." The song rises, its rhythm aligning with the beat of her heart. Colors dance around them, crimson, violet, and gold. The gray has vanished, replaced by a sky alive with motion. Each breath she takes forms a constellation of glowing dust. Morpheus raises his hand, guiding the last refrain. The melody reaches its peak, trembling with emotion unspoken. Then, as the final note fades, silence returns, not empty, but full. The dreamer stands in awe, her eyes glistening like dawn. "I remember now," she says. "The world was never gray. I was." Morpheus smiles faintly, his voice a soft echo of the stars. "Dreams live within you. They sleep when you forget to listen." The light swirls gently around her, embracing her like a promise. She closes her eyes and hums the melody, her voice pure and clear. The dream realm responds, blooming brighter than before. Every color deepens, every star hums in harmony. The song spreads beyond her dream, touching others in their sleep. Across the realm, countless dreamers stir and smile. They do not know why, but their hearts feel lighter. Hope, once dim, glows again in the space between thoughts. Morpheus steps back, his task nearly complete. The dreamer looks to him. "Will I remember you when I wake?" He shakes his head gently. "No. But you will remember how to dream." She bows her head, gratitude shining in her eyes. The stars shimmer softly as he turns away, his cloak trailing light. The song of midnight lingers, fading into the rhythm of dawn. And so, beneath the endless heavens, Morpheus walks once more, carrying the melody of awakening through the quiet sea of dreams. The dreamer's world glows softly, alive with color and calm. But even as light returns, a faint tremor stirs beneath the surface. Morpheus senses it, a shadow forming at the edge of her thoughts. It moves quietly, not with malice, but with fear. He turns, his eyes tracing the slow ripple through the dreamscape. From the horizon, a mist rises, dark and shifting. It carries whispers, cold, uncertain, familiar. "Dreams are useless," it murmurs. "They fade when morning comes." The words spread like fog, dimming the brightness of her world. The dreamer hesitates, the melody of midnight fading from her lips. Her hands tremble, colors around her begin to dull. Morpheus steps closer, his tone steady and calm. "Do not listen to the echo," he says. "It is not truth, only doubt." She looks up, eyes clouded with confusion. "But it sounds like my own voice," she whispers. Morpheus nods slowly. "It is. Doubt is born within, not beyond." The mist thickens, swirling around them like slow-moving smoke. It shows fragments of her waking life, deadlines, regrets, fatigue. She sees herself staring at blank pages, brushes untouched. "What if dreams waste time?" she says softly. "What if they mean nothing?" The shadow answers quickly, feeding on her uncertainty. "They are illusions. They do not feed the world. They only vanish." Morpheus listens, but he does not silence it. Instead, he kneels and places a hand upon the ground. From beneath his touch, a faint light emerges, steady and warm. "Doubt," he says, "is part of dreaming. It shapes what we choose to keep." The dreamer watches as the light begins to push back. The mist. Each wave of brightness reveals fragments of truth. Children laughing in wonder. Painters working through the night. Stories told by candlelight to those who need to believe. Dreams, fragile as they are, become bridges to hope. The mist recoils, uncertain. The dreamer's eyes clear, and she breathes deeply. "I remember," she says. "Dreams hurt sometimes, but they make me feel alive." Morpheus smiles faintly. Even shadows bow to those who remember light. The mist fades slowly, leaving only calm air and soft radiance. The gray beneath their feet turns to silver once again. The dreamer stands tall, her voice steady. "I will not silence my dreams again." Morpheus inclines his head. "Then they will never leave you." For a moment, there is only peace, the kind that hums quietly beneath all creation. The stars above seem closer, shimmering with approval. The dreamer looks around, her world alive once more. She sees no sign of the shadow now, only traces of its passing. But she understands. It was never her enemy, only her reflection. Morpheus steps back, his gaze distant, thoughtful. The test is over. The dreamer has remembered her strength. He whispers softly, "Even the brightest stars are born from darkness." And with that truth lingering in the air, the Prince of Midnight turns, walking toward the horizon of dreams that await his care. The dreamer's world glows softly, alive with color and calm. But even as light returns, a faint tremor stirs beneath the surface. Morpheus senses it, a shadow forming at the edge of her thoughts. It moves quietly, not with malice, but with fear. He turns, his eyes tracing the slow ripple through the dreamscape. From the horizon, a mist rises, dark and shifting. It carries whispers, cold, uncertain, familiar. "Dreams are useless," it murmurs. They fade when morning comes. The words spread like fog, dimming the brightness of her world. The dreamer hesitates, the melody of midnight fading from her lips. Her hands tremble. Colors around her begin to dull. Morpheus steps closer, his tone steady and calm. "Do not listen to the echo," he says. "It is not truth, only doubt." She looks up, eyes clouded with confusion. "But it sounds like my own voice," she whispers. Morpheus nods slowly. "It is. Doubt is born within, not beyond." The mist thickens, swirling around them like slow-moving smoke. It shows fragments of her waking life, deadlines, regrets, fatigue. She sees herself staring at blank pages, brushes untouched. "What if dreams waste time?" she says softly. "What if they mean nothing?" The shadow answers quickly, feeding on her uncertainty. "They are illusions. They do not feed the world. They only vanish." Morpheus listens, but he does not silence it. Instead, he kneels and places a hand upon the ground. From beneath his touch, a faint light emerges, steady and warm. "Doubt," he says, "is part of dreaming. It shapes what we choose to keep." The dreamer watches as the light begins to push back the mist. Each wave of brightness reveals fragments of truth. Children laughing in wonder, painters working through the night, stories told by candlelight to those who need to believe. Dreams, fragile as they are, become bridges to hope. The mist recoils, uncertain. The dreamer's eyes clear, and she breathes deeply. "I remember," she says. "Dreams hurt sometimes, but they make me feel alive." Morpheus smiles faintly. Even shadows bow to those who remember light. The mist fades slowly, leaving only calm air and soft radiance. The gray beneath their feet turns to silver once again. The dreamer stands tall, her voice steady. "I will not silence my dreams again." Morpheus inclines his head. "Then they will never leave you." For a moment, there is only peace, the kind that hums quietly beneath all creation. The stars above seem closer, shimmering with approval. The dreamer looks around, her world alive once more. She sees no sign of the shadow now, only traces of its passing. But she understands. It was never her enemy, only her reflection. Morpheus steps back, his gaze distant, thoughtful. The test is over. The dreamer has remembered her strength. He whispers softly, "Even the brightest stars are born from darkness." And with that truth lingering in the air, the Prince of Midnight turns, walking toward the horizon of dreams that await his care. The night grows still again, a soft hush covering the dreamscape. Morpheus stands at the edge of the vast horizon of stars. Behind him, the dreamer sleeps peacefully, her world aglow with new light. Her song still lingers, faint but steady, weaving through the silence. The Prince of Midnight watches as the waves of her dream ripple outward. Each ripple carries fragments of hope to other sleeping souls. He can feel the pulse of millions, dreaming, remembering, healing. A quiet satisfaction fills his heart, though it is lined with solitude. He was born to guide, not to stay, to awaken, not to remain. The realm of dreams hums around him, alive with gentle harmony. Every star whispers a story. Every shadow hums with purpose. He walks slowly, his footsteps leaving trails of shimmering dust. The constellations above shift as if watching him go. He smiles faintly, his gaze soft with unspoken farewell. "I am not the keeper of dreams," he murmurs. "Only their reminder." His voice fades into the wind, carried toward the sleeping world. The path before him glows, the river of dawn, silver and calm. It leads to the border where dreams meet waking light. As he steps closer, the night folds around him like a cloak. He can feel the pull of the rising sun, gentle yet insistent. Beyond that glow, the world of mortals begins to stir. Children roll in their sleep, whispering names of imaginary friends. Artists dream of colors they have never seen. Lovers hold on to fleeting warmth before the day begins. Every dream he touched tonight will bloom differently at sunrise. Some will fade, others will grow, but all will leave a trace. He stops for a moment, watching the stars dim into pale blue. The end of night is near, but not the end of his journey. He kneels, touching the silver water with his hand. Ripples spread outward, forming visions of countless dreamers. Each one carries a spark, fragile but radiant. He closes his eyes and breathes in deeply, drawing in their hope. Then he releases it, letting it scatter across the wind. 1,000 tiny stars drift into the waking world, unseen but felt. Some land in hearts that need courage, others in minds seeking wonder. The rest become whispers of inspiration, waiting to be heard. Morpheus rises, his figure framed by the fading moonlight. He looks once more toward the dreamer's world, now at peace. She will wake soon, remembering only a feeling: warmth, clarity, calm. That is enough. Dreams need not be remembered to be real. The Prince of Midnight smiles, a quiet reflection of infinity. He turns toward the dawn, his silhouette melting into the glow. The sky shifts, indigo to violet, violet to gold. Night gives way to morning, seamless and eternal. And though the world wakes, the dream remains, woven into every heartbeat. For where there are hearts that hope, Morpheus will walk again. The song of midnight will return when the stars forget their light. Until then, he wanders unseen, the silent guardian of dreams. And so ends the night, not in darkness but in gentle remembrance.